This is Dynamo Kyiv, and they are one of the stronger teams in the Ukrainian Premier League, but they haven't won the title since 2021. And on top of that, they've never won the Champions League, despite being in the European competition since the 60s. But today, that's all going to change as I'm taking charge of Dynamo Kyiv, and by the end of this video, I'll be making them the best team in the world. But before we go any further, we've got to figure out what league to put them in, which is why we're heading over to the wheel, which has got the top 5 leagues in FIFA 23 on it. Wherever it lands, we are heading there with Dynamo Kyiv. Is that Serie A? It's the Serie A. We are heading over to Italy with Dynamo Kyiv, but there's one more little catch. I've also put Shakhtar Donetsk in the Serie A, so not only are we competing with Italy's best teams, but we are also competing with who I believe to be Dynamo Kyiv's fiercest rivals. So this is the starting 11 I've loaded into, and let me tell you, looks can be deceiving with this squad. We've currently got no players out on loan, which when you start a new career mode is always the best thing to see. And apart from a couple of players like Boyko and Gomes, their team really isn't that old. And on top of that, they've got some ballers in this squad like my mate Vladislav Suprior, whose name I've definitely just butchered. Centre midfielder Vitaly Buyalski, whose name I've definitely also butchered as well. But my favourite player, Mykola Shaparenko, whose name I definitely didn't butcher. And after meddling with the team, whilst it's still not amazing, it's much better than what we first loaded into. And after taking a closer look at Shaparenko's stats, he looks a little bit more like a cam to me, so that's exactly what we're going to convert him to. But one thing we're not going to do is stick with this formation because quite frankly, it just doesn't make any sense to. Instead, we'll go for the 4-3-3 attacking variation. I know I use this formation quite a lot, but this is literally perfect for Dynamo Kyiv. And just look at the difference, man. Everybody's in their natural position. Obviously, Karaviev does need to convert to a winger, but I can't imagine that taking that long. And I was hoping that somebody would come good from the youth academy, but after looking at these players, I was definitely getting my hopes up for nothing. And truth be told, the budget isn't much better either, as we've only got 17 million in our first season in charge. So one thing's for certain, for now, we've got to be very tactical with who we bring in. Now, looking at the team, it's obvious there's a lot of room for improvement in literally every single position, but we've got to focus our attention on a couple of areas first. We need to sort this defense out, man. Primarily our centre-back Sirota and our fullback Dubinchak. Granted, you can make an argument we need a midfielder better than Shapelev and a better winger than Benito, but if we don't sort that defense out, we are going to get absolutely massacred this year. And I was going to convert Karaviev to a right winger role, but it will literally take 253 weeks for some reason, so I don't think we're going to manage to do that before we replace him. But moving on from that calamity, we're going to start the transfer window by signing Ismail Jacobs from AS Monaco. He's a fullback who's 22 years old and 73 rated. I think in a couple of years' time, he'll become an absolute baller. And we have officially brought Ismail Jacobs to Dynamo Kyiv for just 6 million on the dot. And for our second and probably final signing of this window, I'm going for Maxime Esteve from Montpellier. He's 20 years old but 73 rated already. I think if we can get this guy into the team, he will be an absolute monster. And thankfully, we were just about able to afford him, as we've just spent 7.5 million to bring him to Dynamo Kyiv. And after those transfers and renewing everybody's contracts, we've got 1 million euros left in our budget, but there's one more thing I really want to do. I'm recalling my mate Georgie back off his loan move. He's only 21 years old and 68 rated. I'm going to convert him to a winger and hope to God that he just massively improves this season. And unlike Karaviev, it only took 2 weeks to convert Georgie to a winger, and he's going to turn into a 69 overall winger. Do you know what? I'll take a 1 overall growth over absolutely nothing. And speaking of position changes, Shaparenko's now converted to a cam, and he's going to turn into a 77. Honestly, that is the last time I ever get hyped for a position change. But with that, our transfer window is finally done, and this is the starting 11 going into season 1. And let's be real, whilst we have improved it a little bit, we are not doing anything else this season other than fighting for survival. For the first 2 or 3 seasons at least, we've got to be competing just for a better finish than Shakhtar Donetsk. Anything more than that at this point is just simply delusional. But like I said, this season, I just want survival. The last thing that we need right now is relegation. So boys, we've just arrived at the end of May, and we've done a lot better than I thought. 15th in the league at the end of this season, 10 points clear of the relegation zone. And on top of that, we've actually finished higher than Shakhtar Donetsk, which I've got to admit has surprised me a little bit. We also made it to the round of 16 in the Coppa Italia just to get battered by Milan as well. And looking at this team, I've got to say the improvement has been absolutely remarkable. But when you look at the stats, it's easy to see why we finished 15th in the league, man. Just look at the lack of players getting goals this year. But realistically, we can't complain. We finished higher than Shakhtar Donetsk and we didn't get relegated, so this season's been a success. But now's the time to build from this. We have to be very tactical with who we bring in, and who knows, we might be even in the top 10 next year. But before we go any further, if you enjoyed this video so far, leave it a big old thumbs up and hit that subscribe subscribe button. So we're now into Season 2 of Dynamo Kyiv after fairly comfortably surviving our first season in the Serie A. But looking at this starting 11, there's some areas of this pitch that are desperate for improvement. For starters, we're going to replace Benito. He's 71 rated, the weakest link in the team by a mile, and last year we didn't score them many goals, so maybe getting a better winger will change that. And on top of that, we need a better centre-back and a goalkeeper if we can afford it too. If we can sort those positions out this year, I think we'll comfortably get a higher position than just 15th this year. And to my utter surprise, we've actually been given 33 million to spend in Season 2. Now, that kind of money I can definitely work with. And starting with the winger, I'm going to go for Valencia's Kerem Aktürkoğlu. He's 24 years old, 77 rated, and yes, that was very difficult to pronounce. And he is our most expensive signing so far, as we've just spent 16.3 million on him. And for that centre-back position, we are stealing Maresh Kumbula from Roma. He's only 23 years old and already 76 rated. And this was a done deal for just over 10 million euros. And after those transfers of renewing everybody's contracts, we've only got 755k left in the bank, so that's our transfer window done. And we have been training Aktürkoğlu to become a left winger. I'm not going to get excited. He's going to turn into, actually, he's a 79 rated winger for 16 million. That's actually a pretty good deal. And this is now how the team looks going into Season 2, and I've got to admit, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm going nuts, but I could swear on my life we had another centre-back alongside Sirota last year before I even brought in Esteve. And boys, I was bang on. Dennis Popov's gone to bloody Sporting, and this must have been a release clause, because I definitely didn't sell him, and this just makes me hate release clauses even bloody more. But it is what it is, boys. Looking at this team, it's massively improved anyway, so fingers crossed this year we can get a better finish than 15th. Well, we've just arrived at the end of our second season in the Serie A, and we're creeping up that table. We're 13th in the league at the end of this campaign. And once again, we finished higher than our rival Shakhtar, which is always a good thing. And look at the improvement in this team, man. I think 2 or 3 good signings next year, we can definitely reach into that top 10. And it looks like bringing in Aktürkoğlu was the right choice. 22 goals and 6 for him in 39 games, 15 and 1 for Supriya, and 11 and 4 for my mate Georgie. So far, it's been W after W. Last year we finished 15th, and this year we finished 13th. But we've got to keep building from this. We've got to improve the team every single year until we're in a position where we can actually push for European football. But don't get me wrong, we're nowhere near that yet. So we're now into Season 3 in charge of Dynamo Kyiv. And looking at the team, it's obvious there's been massive amounts of improvement, but there's still a lot of room for improvement as well. First things first, we need a better keeper than Bushan. He's 76 rated and one of the weakest links in the starting 11. And on top of that, we need a better midfielder than Shepalev now. He's 76 rated, and just like Bushan, he's also one of the weakest links in the team. If we can afford to fix both of these positions, we've got a genuine shot at top 10 football this year. And boys, the budget is definitely on our side this time. 52 million in Season 3. Now, this board I can definitely get along with. Now, I'm buying tactically in this transfer window. So starting with the goalkeeper, I'm going for Keylor Navas from PSG. Granted, he's 37 years old, but he's 84 rated. We'll get at least 1 or 2 good seasons out of him. And boys, I'm not joking when I say we got him for 3 million euros. If that isn't the bargain of the century, I don't know what is. And after that transfer, we've got 47 million in the bank, and I know just who to spend all of that money on. I'm going for Alexis McAllister from Liverpool. He's 25 years old and already 84 rated. He will massively improve the quality in our squad. And every season so far, we've broken our transfer record fees. We've just spent 40 million on the dot for Alexis McAllister. And that is our transfer window officially done, with the team now looking like this heading into Season 3. And with a much stronger goalkeeper, a much stronger midfield, and all around a better team, I think we can definitely creep into that top 10 this year. But one thing is for certain, boys, we are definitely finishing above Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, boys, you genuinely ain't going to believe where we finished. We are 3rd in the league at the end of this season, literally 9 points behind league leaders Inter Milan. Now, some of you guys will probably think I've cheated. I promise you guys, I have done absolutely nothing. I have simulated from the start of the season all the way to the end, and somehow we have finished 3rd. Where is Shakhtar Donetsk? Where are they? Oh my god, they're 11th in the league, man. We have left them high and dry at this point. But we only made it to round 2 of the Coppa Italia. Go figure, we finished 3rd in the Serie A, but can't even make it past round 2. Look at this starting 11. Everybody's happy. Everybody's in form. Boys, we've got a very good team on our hands with Dynamo Kyiv. And the stats this year, boys, are very goddamn good. Supriya with 26 and 2. We've got 18 and 9 for Aktürkoğlu and 11 and 4 for my mate Georgie. I'm honestly in disbelief that we pulled that off, man. I would have been happy with a top top 10 finish, but third in the league. That means we've got Champions League football for next year. And honestly, boys, if next year we don't make the right transfers, we will get annihilated in the Champions League with the current team we've got. So we're now into season 4 with Dynamo Kyiv, and somehow this starting 11 got us third in the league last year, meaning we've got Champions League football this season. Don't get me wrong, boys, this team right now is pretty decent, but we've got a lot of work to do before it's ready for the Champions League. We need a better midfielder than Boyalski, we need a better right back than Timchik, and we also need a better goalkeeper than Navas. And not to mention, we need to work on this subs bench to make sure we're replacing quality with quality. Like I said, boys, we are not ready for the Champions League just yet. But thankfully, the board have seen our achievement last year and given us 93 million euros in season 4. So maybe, just maybe, we can get this team a little bit more ready for what's to come. And first things first, we're going for a goalkeeper, and Lucas Chevalier from Manchester United. He's only 23 years old and 83 rated already. I think this guy's going to turn into a beast for us. And I think we've just had a fantastic deal for him, as we've only had to spend 30.25 million to bring him to Dynamo Kyiv. And for that centre midfielder position, I'm going for Fabian Ruiz from Stade Rennais. He's 29 years old, 83 rated. Him and Alexis McAllister in that midfield, I reckon that's a deadly duo. But they really didn't want to let him go easily, as we had to fork out 38.95 million on him. And after those transfers, we've got 8 million left in our budget, and for the calibre of player we're after, that just isn't enough. But that does mean this is the team going into season 4, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'm kind of intrigued to see how we get on this year. We've got a better goalkeeper now, the midfield's looking a lot better than it was this time last year. All we need is a right back, and this starting 11 is almost complete. But in no way, shape or form is this team ready for the Champions League yet. Depending on who's in our group stage, we may not even make it out of it. But to be honest, having seen our group, we might just survive. We're in Group C alongside Manchester City, OGC Nice and Slavia Praha. Now City are obviously going to top the group, but I say that second place spots between ourselves and OGC Nice, and you never know what could happen. So boys, we've just arrived in January and we're doing alright. We're 5th in the league halfway through the season, and as it stands, we are still in the European competition next year. And as you can see, boys, Dynamo Kyiv are miles clear of Shakhtar now. And I did expect this. We finished 3rd in Group C, but this does mean we're in the Europa League prelim round now, so it's not all bad news. And so far, it looks like everybody's getting goals and assists. Just check out some of these stats, man. Now, I'm not sure if this is down to ticket sales or what, but we've got 23 million in our budget. Now, last time I saw this, I could swear it was a lower number than that. But that means we can try and get a better right back than this guy, and that was originally the plan at the start of this season. Now, I've just spent a solid 10 minutes trying to find a right back we can afford, and I've finally found one. Benjamin Hendricks from FC Nantes. He's 28 years old and 80 rated. He will definitely fit into that starting 11. And we literally spent every last penny we have bringing him to Dynamo Kyiv, as we've just spent 21.5 million on him. And if you boys didn't believe me, I'll show you. We've got 29k left in our budget, man. That's our transfer window completely done. And this is the starting 11 that's going to finish off season 4. Now, you guys know I'm not entirely surprised we got knocked out of the Champions League, but in the Europa League, it's a different story. Everybody in this team now is 80 rated or above, so I'm hoping that we can at least make it to the quarters or maybe even the semi-final. But one thing I definitely want to do this year is get European football for next season no matter what. So we have just reached the end of season 4, and we've got European football next year. We are 4th in the league at the end of this campaign. And Shakhtar are definitely creeping up that table, but they're never going to be on our level now. And we just missed out on winning our first trophy with Dynamo Kyiv. Fiorentina beat us in the Coppa Italia final on penalties. And we legit did not make it out of the prelim round of the Europa League, man. We have had a shocker in Europe this time. But that is a wake-up call. Whilst this team is definitely good, there's still a lot of room for improvement. But the stats at the end of this season are pretty damn impressive. A lot of players got double figures in goals and assists this season. Granted, we didn't do well in Europe, but I anticipated that. And granted, we didn't win the Coppa Italia, but I didn't expect us to. The most important thing is we got European football for next season. And fingers crossed that means once again we get a great budget to work with, which means we can once again improve this team and get it ready for European competition once again. So we've just arrived in season 5 with Dynamo Kyiv, and once again we are in Europe. And looking at this team, there's only 1 or 2 positions we actually need to focus on. The obvious one is our right back, Hendricks. He's the weakest link in the team, and we definitely need to improve this position. Now, Jacobs would be the other obvious one, but he's 82 overall. I want to leave him alone for 1 more season because he's been quite good to us. Aside from our right back, I'd like a better centre back than Kumbola and a better right back than Georgie. Other than our fullbacks, those 2 are the weakest links in the starting 11, and once we sort those out, I actually think we can go all the way this time in the Europa League. And the budget, once again, again is definitely on our side. 142 million euros to spend. Christ, could you imagine what budget we get if we won the league? We'd be hitting the 200 million mark. And starting with the centre-back, I'm going for Mark Guy from Inter Milan. He's 26 years old and 84 rated. I think him and Estevez at the back would be an absolute unit to get past. And year after year, we break our transfer record fears. We've just spent 60.3 million to bring Mark Guy to Dynamo Kyiv. And as for the winger I'm bringing in, I've never actually used this guy on career mode before. Usman Dembele, who's 29 years old and 85 rated. I think he'll absolutely tear Italy apart. And PSG weren't letting him go that easy, but for 60 million on the dot, the deal was done. And I swear to God, this could not have been more lucky. Pablo Maffeo is the right back I'm going for. He's 29 years old, 82 rated, and the best part of all of it, he's a bloody free agent. We're going to get him for absolutely nothing. And now the team looks like this heading into Season 5, and I'm very excited to see what this team achieves this year. Every single player in this team now actually deserves to be there. There's no weak link whatsoever. Now, last year in Europe, we didn't have a good time in it at all. Third in the group stage of the Champions League, and we got knocked out straight away in the Europa League. So hopefully this season it's a little different. So for some reason, I had it in my mind we were in the Europa League. We're in the Champions League in Group C alongside Real Betis, Celtic and Sampdoria. Honestly, boys, I don't even know what's going on anymore. But with the teams we've got in our group and the quality we've got in our team, I'm hoping that we can at least make it to the round of 16 this time. So boys, we're halfway through the season yet again, and we are third in the league after 18 games, and we're definitely in a title race. But more importantly this time, we've topped Group C and we are easily going through to the round of 16. But to be honest, the stats aren't all that impressive. The only one standing out so far is Superior with 12 goals in 23 games. And I did everything I wanted to do in the first transfer window, so this is the starting 11 that's going to go into the knockouts for the very first time. And honestly, boys, with how the team's looking right now, there's a small chance we can go quite far, but it all does depend on who we get drawn up against. And starting off in the round of 16 is RC Celta. Now, no disrespect to RC Celta, but in comparison with who I thought we were going to get matched up against, this is the dream start. But to be fair, it's only a dream start if we make it count. We are away from home in the first leg. Dynamo Kyiv, how are we doing? It's a 2-1 victory. McAllister and Fabian Ruiz get us the win, but it's still kind of close. We are in a tidy position. We are at home in the second leg with a 2-1 advantage. Let's just hope that we actually take advantage of this advantage. It's a 3-0 victory. We've smashed them at home, 5-1 on aggregate, and we go to the quarters. And up next, boys, is a serious challenge. Manchester City in the quarterfinals. We are at home in the first leg, so that is going for us, but Ruiz is suspended, so that's definitely going away from us. So let's just see how we actually get on. Oh, okay. There might just be a chance we sneak this one past City. We're at the empty ad in the second leg. It's 2 all apiece, but oh my days, look at that team, man. We are really going to be up against it this time. Let's see how we get on in the second leg. I mean, it's Manchester City, for God's sake. What can we expect? Our team right now is good, but it still has a bit more room for improvement. Man City's team is just unbelievably good all over the pitch. But unfortunately, our journey in the Champions League ends in the quarters at the hands of the reigning Champions League winners, Manchester City. So let's skip to the end of the season and hope that we've actually done well in the league as well this time. And boys, you ain't gonna believe this. We've actually won the Serie A by 4 points this time. That's our first trophy in charge of Dynamo Kyiv. And Shakhtar Donetsk are doing pretty well, but like I say, boys, they ain't anywhere near our level now. And this time we made it to the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, only to get knocked out by bloody Juve on away goals of all things, man. That is just stupid. But look at this starting 11, a couple of really solid signings next year, and we are taking the Champions League by storm. And boys, just take a look at these stats, man. Every single player in this team has put a right shift in this year. Honestly, boys, I can't be disappointed. We've won the Serie A, we made the quarters only to get knocked out by Man City, and we made the semi-finals, man. We've had a very solid season. But to conquer the Champions League next year, I think I know exactly what we need to do. So we're now into Season 6 with Dynamo Kyiv, and looking at that starting 11, I'll be real, I don't want to mess with it at all. It's the subs bench I want to focus on, because right now there isn't enough quality there to replace the quality we got in the starting 11. We need a backup striker, a backup cam, a backup centre midfielder, and a backup goalkeeper. I think squad depth's our biggest issue, because if you remember in the first leg against against Man City in the Champions League, Ruiz was suspended and we drew. If we won that game, it might have turned out a bit differently in the second leg. And just like always, boys, we're not short of funds with our board. 170 million euros in our budget. And I started with the backup striker by bringing in Isaac Anderson in for 30 million euros on the dot. As for the backup attacking midfielder, I went for Belgian giant Charles de Ketelaere, who cost us 45.7 million. Next up was the backup centre midfielder role, which I went for Alex Biener for 37.4 million. And finally, for our second choice goalkeeper, I went for Italian Alex Mere for 30 million on the dot. And with that, I'm happy to call our transfer window a day, which means this is the team heading into season 6. The starting 11 is honestly bloody brilliant, and so is our subs bench now. I think we are genuinely ready for every single competition we're in this time. And for the third season running, we're once again in the Champions League, this time in Group E alongside Villarreal, Frankfurt and Spezia. And if last year we topped the group with a weaker team than we've got now, surely to God it should be the same result. So boys, we just arrived halfway through the season again, and we're second in the league in January, only 1 point behind league leaders Roma. If we went back-to-back winning the Serie A, I'd be gassed. And once again, we've topped Group E and we are going to the round of 16. And once again, there's only one standout player so far, Aktogoglu, with 15 goals and 9 assists in 23 games. And I did everything I wanted to do in the first transfer window, so this is the starting 11 that's once again going to go into the knockouts. And I'll admit, without me even realising, there's some absolute ballers in this squad, with the likes of 90 rated Shaparenko, 91 rated McAllister, and finally 91 rated Aktogoglu, man. How these boys have gone under the radar, I don't know. With this team, I'm pretty certain we can beat how we did last year in the Champions League, but once again, it all depends on who we get drawn up against. And first up in the round of 16, you seriously can't write this stuff. Manchester City. We just can't get bloody away from them, can we? This time, though, in the first leg, our strongest starting 11 is out, so hopefully that does make a little bit of a difference. If they knock us out again, I'm not going to be happy, boys. This is just a joke at this point. It ain't looking good, boys, is it? Man City are 2-1 up in the second leg. Let's just pray for a goddamn miracle at this point. Oh my God. We smashed them. Oh my, boys. Oh, revenge is so goddamn sweet. We're through to the quarter-final. And next up in the knockouts is German side RB Leipzig. Now, in comparison to Man City, I'm really not too worried about this game. But the thing is, we've got to get past them, so let's get straight into it. At home in the first leg, it's a 2-1 victory. I mean, I'd have liked a more convincing win, but I'll definitely take a 2-1 victory. I want a convincing win in the second leg. We've already beat them 2-1 in the first leg, so let's settle it right now. That is not a good sign of things to come. 1-1, man. If we get drawn up against a big team next, we might be in a little bit of trouble. And you boys ain't going to believe who we're facing in the semis. Leicester bloody City. Now, last time we played against these guys in the knockouts, if I remember correctly, they actually knocked us out of this exact same position. Let's hope this time it's a little bit of a different stuff. Why are we drawing every single game now? This is actually winding me up a little bit. Why are most of our team bloody fatigued, man? This just isn't looking good. Let's get into it at home. Please, for God. Oh, thank God for that. Thank God for that. I did not come all this way to get knocked out by bloody Leicester City of all teams. And the team we're facing in the Champions League final is European giants Real Madrid. This is going to be a tough game. But heading back over to the Italian league, we've absolutely stormed it. We've gone back-to-back winning the Serie A. And the best part is we left Shakhtar Donetsk in the dust. But we didn't win the EA Sports Super Cup as we lost 3-2 to bloody Juve. But we finally won the Coppa Italia by beating Juve 1-0 in the final. That's poetic justice if I've ever seen it. And honestly, boys, look at these stats, man. 35 and 20 for Aktogoglu, 22 and 2 for Supriya, 19 and 4 for Georgie, and 10 and 9 for Fabian Ruiz. Just look at this team, man. Everybody's happy, everybody's not injured, and for once, nobody's bloody suspended. I hope I've done you Dynamo Kyiv fans proud, man, because this team I'm very proud of myself. And the best part is we've won pretty much everything in Italy. We've won the Serie A twice and we won the Coppa Italia, but now we've got the chance to win the most prestigious trophy you can win at club level, the Champions League. Ruiz is on the ball. Aktogoglu is through. Oh, boys, this is a perfect opportunity if we get this right. Oh, please, make this 1-0. Come on! That is the perfect counter-attack. Ruiz to Aktogoglu. Aktogoglu inside and bang, get in. Jacobs is on the ball. See his run from Shaparenko. Shaparenko can cut inside. Oh, he somehow made that way. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, beautiful. I don't even care if you class that as a sweat. Well, it definitely is a sweaty goal, but I'm taking that against Madrid. McAllister, okay, World Cup. Oh, he's just done in for a kipper there. He's still on the ball. He's still on the ball. Take a shot. Oh, could you imagine? McAllister's on the ball. He sees that. Oh, look at Shaparenko with all this. That is a... Oh, my God. What was that? Pablo Mafia, who's got so much room to run into. He's found Shaparenko. We're going to have a dink from... I genuinely thought that was going top left bins. We are absolutely decimating Real Madrid, man. It's just lovely to see. McAllister inside. Shaparenko. This is lovely. Oh, look at this. Usman Dembele to make it 3. Madrid, man, let me have a third. Madrid are pushing forward. Probably the last chance of the game. We're going to boot this forward. And there is the full-time whistle. We have absolutely destroyed... Well, that's just happened. We have absolutely destroyed Real Madrid 2-0 in the Champions League final, and we have made Dynamo Kyiv the best team in the world. That was a hell of a lot of fun, and we turned this team into an absolute monster in comparison to what we had in Season 1. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video, but if you enjoyed that, you should click here to watch me do this with Panathinaikos.